Thanks for listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
Junior Mint, Jeff Wagstaff.
Sitting in the candy aisle, yes, I am.
And across from me, world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonatti of the Bonatti Spine Institute. Well, we're here with Chris Meek, founder and CEO of Soldier Strong, an organization which makes bionic suits to help paralyzed veterans walk again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Can you talk a little bit about Soldier Strong's mission and the work the organization does to help veterans?
Sure. The organization is about 6.5 years old, and the original name was Soldier Socks because our original mission started when a Marine in Afghanistan had sent a letter requesting tube socks and baby wipes. And the letter basically said they weren't living on bases, they were in jeeps and foxholes. Can you please send tube socks because they hike all day and throw the old ones away? And baby wipes for personal hygiene. So that was the original mission. As the wars wound down and the troops came home, we shifted the focus to supporting those returning veterans, and specifically those injured veterans. We had the tagline of helping service members take their next steps forward. And we thought, how great would it be to do the literal sense of that and to help enable a paralyzed veteran to stand and walk again. It really was an accident. We came across an article in the magazine on a company based in California that makes this exoskeleton device, and it really looks like the Iron Man suit. So we now fund these devices and donate them to the spinal cord injury centers within the VA medical system for paralyzed veterans to come in and rehab and to stand and walk again.
Chris, we would certainly like to recognize and commend you for what you're doing, but something in the information about your organization jumps out. Today, so many charities are, frankly, businesses, and the majority of the money donated goes back to running the charity. One thing I noticed in the prep work that Ethan put together here is that of all of the veteran-centered nonprofit charities, you have one of the lowest overheads and highest percentage of donor dollars going directly to help veterans. You should be commended for that as well.
Thank you. It's something we've really focused on, knowing some other organizations out there, to your point, spend a lot in overhead and in marketing. Up until the fall of 2013, we were an all-volunteer organization because of that. So at the time, it was 99.5 cents on the dollar going through. I had the benefit of living on planes and trains professionally. I do have a day job, so we do a lot of the work from an iPhone or an iPad on a commute. But in 2014, when we really dug our teeth into the Exo device, that was a breakout year for us, and it just got too big for me to handle on an iPad. And so we did need to take on one full-time employee. You know, that north of 90 cents a dollar is our primary goal.
I have to know, the Bionic Suit that you guys are utilizing and donating to the veterans, tell us a little bit more about that and how many veterans have had access to those suits.
It's fascinating technology, and it's interesting history behind it. The current device is a spin-off from literally the Iron Man suit. The same company designed the Iron Man suit for a DARPA program. The engineer who designed the suit, his brother's a Navy SEAL, and being a Navy SEAL, was home on leave one time and was parasailing in California, broke his neck. And the engineer brother said, well, I'm going to make a device so you can walk again. The SEAL brother said, well, I'm going to walk again anyway. So both happened. They converted the military device into a medical device, and the Navy SEAL is fully rehabilitated and is still a SEAL.
Wow.
Great family lineage and history there, and just a great story in that sense. The devices that we've donated, there have been 10 to date. We actually just donated one Wednesday of this week to the Eastern Colorado VA in Denver. About 25,000 paralyzed veterans have access to these suits that we've donated now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And now, how do they work? How are they controlled?
This is a unique device because it serves the largest population both in height and weight as well as the severity of your injury.
Okay.
And so if you take a look at it, it looks like there's a backpack on the back, and that's really the computer driving everything. Once the individual gets trained in it, which is typically within a few hours, they will graduate from a walker to actual crutches. And in the crutches, there's a button in there where the individual presses the button, and that then tells the computer in the back to take the step. And so it just creates these natural steps based on, again, you plug in your height and your, the length of your legs and your hips and your waist and things like that. It then knows how far to move that leg device.
Wow, so it can mimic the gait for your own individual needs.
Exactly right.
Unbelievable.
And do these add any type of strength? Because I've seen them used in factories and things like that, where it helps people pick up things that are 10 times their own weight.
Yep, exactly. Great question. There is two other devices, one on the military side, which does enable somebody to literally lift 200 pounds with their arm, and it's a load-bearing device, so it transfers all the weight to the ground. There's also another industrial device where you think about somebody maybe welding a ship, and they've got this big drill above their head, transfers all the weight to that. What this does for the individual, it is a rehabilitative device, and so that's the primary function of this. It does things like increase muscle density, increase bone density, reduce things like urinary tract infection, but the one thing that is really immeasurable, which now the Denver Denver VA is going to use their device for research on is the mental state of that individual. So many of these men and women in uniform who come home injured and are wheelchair bound for life, you hear them stand up for the first time and say, God, I forgot how tall I was, or it's nice to look the world in the eye again and not be like a child and stare at their belt buckle. There was a Marine in Palo Alto that wore the device, and someone asked him how it felt. And he said, today's the first day I've been able to stand up and kiss my wife in 3 years. And so when you hear and see things like that and you're part of that, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, and these things are not cheap either, right? What is the cost of one of these suits?
No, they're not. They range anywhere depending on how many bells and whistles you have on there, but between $150,000 and $188,000 each.
Is any of it covered by insurance?
It is not. This is a rehabilitative device that doesn't fall under their guidelines. And think about if you and I were to go to the gym and you book some time with your personal trainer, these veterans will call, and they are trained physical trainers at the VA centers. Right. And so they'll go in 3 or 4 days a week, 30 to 90 minutes each day, and just do laps around the halls of the VA Medical Center. But just for them to get out of the wheelchair, to move the legs and the hips, your torso is something extraordinary.
They're going there to use it as rehabilitation, but they don't get to leave with it, correct?
Correct. So it's going through FDA approval process right now for individual usage. As of now, it's strictly rehabilitative.
And how many of these have you given away, has Soldier Strong given away to different VAs around the country?
Yep. So our first donation was in December of 2013. We just gave away our 10th device this past Wednesday to the Denver VA. Mm-hmm. And we have 2 more coming up in the coming months, one going to the McGee Rehabilitative Center in Philadelphia, and then the Minneapolis VA as well.
I'm blown away by what you do, and not only by what you do, but the goodness in, I guess you'd say, in your heart for what you're doing. Mm-hmm. We don't normally promote this, but where can people learn more about you, and where can people donate to this very worthy cause?
I appreciate it. The organization is Soldier Strong. The website is soldierstrong.org. You can go on there and learn a lot more about us. You can donate there as well. Obviously, follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all those other great social media outlets. And I appreciate the kind words. I never served in the military, and that's one of life's regrets. I used to work in the World Trade Center, and it was in the shadow of the Twin Towers on September 11th, and so I saw firsthand why and what we're fighting for, and it's a small way for me to get back.
Job well done, man.
Absolutely.
Job well done.
And I saw a video that you guys had, Chris, where I think it was during a Philadelphia Eagles game.
Yes.
That was really cool. The YouTube video got over 1 million views in a matter of hours. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So one of our goals for 2015 was to try and get in with the National Football League. In the month of November, they do what they call Salute to Service Month, where all the uniforms have camo on it. They honor the military in different ways. And so we wanted to be a part of that. And so we reached out through a handful of teams. We were able to partner with 5 teams last season. And to your point, the Eagles one was something special because we did have a veteran who was, quote, the hometown hero. And he was in the end zone in the exo device and stood and walked in front of 80,000 people. And that video went from 1 million, it's now at 7 million views.
Wow.
And so it was just fun to watch for sort of a sociology experiment of what happens with social media now and something like that. So it's a great way to showcase the technology and see what an individual can do. Keep in mind, yes, while this is a rehabilitative device now, think about the first cell phone, which was a big brick and cost you $1,500. While these things are big and expensive, they will get better, they will get stronger, they will get smaller, they will get more cost effective. And at some point in my lifetime, you will see somebody with some derivation of this suit walking down the street, walking to the grocery store, walking their daughter down the aisle at a wedding. And so this is version 1.0, and so just very excited to be a part of that.
Chris, as you speak, I can't help but just think forward as to what this technology, where it will be in 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years from now.
You're already seeing the technology isn't that old, and you're already seeing spin-off technology now where they're actually taking a similar device and hardwiring it into your neurosystem to retrain the body to walk again. And so this will be a game changer for generations to come. Think about there's over 300,000 post-9/11 veterans with some form of traumatic brain injury. There are approximately 100,000 paralyzed veterans in the U.S., and I'm just talking about the veteran population. Also, the interesting thing on this specific device, it's great for people who are stroke victims. By that, I mean you can literally turn off half of the machine, and it can retrain that person to walk again in that half where they suffered the stroke.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Amazing technology. Thank you so much, Chris Meek, founder and CEO of Soldier Strong, an organization that helps make bionic suits to help paralyzed veterans walk again. Thank you so much for being on our program.